Good morning, and afternoon to you all. First of all, on behalf of the glamorous women of Gamma Pi Rho Lupus Sorority Incorporated, we would like to welcome you all to our September Advocacy and Awareness Zoom event. We want to personally thank you for logging on and spending time with us on this Saturday. We have sponsors today. We have GSK, and we also have Arenia. So when time permits, make sure you go to their website and check them out so you can get all of the information that they offer for lupus advocates. And now, it brings me great pleasure to present to you an amazing young lupus advocate who I am blessed and so very proud to say that she is one of ours. She is Curtisha Ray Anderson, Soror RHOd Runner, who is on the road during the school year and makes sure that all the children get to their destination safely in Kansas City. Can you guys make sure that you mute your phones? A loving wife, mother, and such a great person overall. Talented, committed, and funny. Does not even begin to describe her. If you ever need a laugh, please check out her daily social media posts and it will definitely lift your spirits. Curtisha is a lupus warrior and kidney advocate. When I tell you she puts the A in advocacy, please, please, please believe me. And she doesn't just talk the talk. She truly walks the walk. Now, see, she's my Soror sister, so I could go on and on and on because I am so very proud of this young lady. But I will turn the floor over to her. So, without further ado, let's all welcome Curtisha Ray Anderson.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You know, I'm like this young lady here, you guys. Woo! I'm not going to keep going on. I'm going to let you tell some of your story. You can begin where you want to begin, but we do have a lot of questions because you are in the places to be, showing face, showing awareness, and just keeping it 100% when it comes to what we signed up to do, what we want to do, and how we want to do it.
Well, thank you. I'll just start off by sharing a little bit of my lupus journey. I was diagnosed with lupus when I was 14 years old, and my initial symptoms were fatigue, and I started to have a lot of fluid retention. So, after a while, my parents finally took me to the doctor because I didn't want to go, so they didn't make me. They probably should have, or I probably wouldn't be in the boat that I am now with my kidney issues. But anyway, that's water under the bridge. So anyway, shortly after I went to the emergency room, I had to start emergency dialysis because they told me that I was in end-stage renal failure. And then shortly after that, I would say a couple of weeks, I got my lupus diagnosis. So my lupus diagnosis was pretty quick. Unlike a lot of other people who, suffer with lupus, sometimes it takes years, of course, for their diagnosis, but mine was pretty quick because my symptoms came on just so quickly and I was just really, really ill. So yeah, that's where my lupus journey started when I was 14 years old, and I've been having lupus, well, knowing that I have lupus now for about 32 years.
You're old head like some of us
Yep.
in this journey. It's been a long journey. It's been
Yeah.
a long journey.
Yeah.
Tell me this. I know everyone is frightened and scared and not sure which way to go because lupus is so new. Did you have anyone in your family who had lupus or knew anything about it or anything like that?
No, when I was diagnosed, at the time we didn't know anyone else in my family had lupus, but now I have an aunt who has lupus, and I have a cousin also with lupus. But at the time, I was the only one. Lupus was like this foreign word to us, And I can remember when I was diagnosed, I asked the doctor, "Do you have any information on lupus?" And at the time, there just wasn't a whole lot of information out there. So I found myself going to the library a lot, just kind of researching and trying to learn as much as I could about lupus. So yeah, I was really scared. I really was, because I didn't know, what to expect, you know, was I gonna die, any of that. So I just didn't know.
Yeah, that diagnosis can be really, really hard, especially at such a young age. I know Soror Shalitha as well experienced that at such a young age.
Yeah, that can be
So,
really hard. Yeah.
yeah. So when you were getting ready to go into high school and everything, did you see your life change because of lupus, or was it you started having symptoms and then it kind of went away and didn't really be active at the time, or how was that?
Well, I think I was in the eighth or ninth grade at the time. And so my symptoms, they came on all of a sudden. And that's when I found out I had the kidney failure. So I had to do dialysis at the time. So that affected me being able to go to school on a regular basis, participate in school activities, and that kind of thing. So I would do my dialysis treatments at home. And a lot of times I didn't even feel like going to school. So I missed a lot of school during that time. And I can remember my teachers would send my assignments home, and that kind of thing. But yeah, it was like life was just turned upside down at the time. Yeah.
Speaking of your kidneys, I do want to say congratulations on your 6-year kidney anniversary.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Curtisha was blessed to have a donor, and it's been 6 years now. So she does not have to go through the daily dialysis and everything. So I know that's a blessing, because they said it's really a struggle to have to do that every day or go so many times a week.
Yeah, yeah. And so I guess I should start out by saying I was diagnosed with lupus and then the kidney failure. So I did dialysis as a teenager. I did that for 3 years. And then I regained kidney function for about 22 years. And so in 2005, I started dialysis again for a second time. So, and then I got the kidney transplant in 2017. So, dialysis 2015, transplant in 2017. So, I've actually been on dialysis twice. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
And that blessing for that young man to be able to uh tell us all about it. Tell us all about
Yeah. I'm sure you all have seen him a lot on my social media page, but his name is CJ. Well, his family calls him CJ, but his name is Corey Jacobs. And he was 18 years old when he passed away in a car accident, along with, I think, 5 other young men passed away. But his mom decided to donate his organs because she knew that that was something that he would want to do. So I got one of his kidneys, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful that I have an opportunity to know about him and to know his family. So it's kind of bittersweet.
it is, but the way you honor this young man, I know that his family is very proud and grateful that you were the one to receive that blessing. When I tell you guys, some people can say, "Oh, thank you," but CJ is in her conversation daily. She makes sure that his memory stays alive, and she's always, always bringing him to the forefront. Not just, oh, I have a kidney, but this is the young man, under unfortunate circumstances. But, so it's like you're still giving him life and his memory life. And I love to see that. I love to see that. So I can imagine how his family feels that you continue to, uplift his name and never let his memory pass on. So that's
Yeah,
that.
after I got my transplant, I asked God, because I'm a spiritual person. I asked God, as a form of gratitude, what can I do to give back? And so what I felt like he gave me was, number one, don't let the world forget about CJ, and always find opportunities to do good. And so that's what I've tried to do with my lupus journey, just to find ways to give back to people. And so that's where I'm at with that.
You said tried. Is that what
I
you
said
want to
try.
say? Tried. I'm trying. You guys, I give her so many great words because you can always see her doing work, giving back, being out in the lupus community. In the process of writing our daily subjects for our monthly newsletter, uh, she always has a story to tell, and it's always a great story of her being such a amazing advocate. You are associated with the Lupus Foundation of America Heartland chapter, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Our Soror, oh my God, y'all.
Country grammar.
Thank you. I couldn't get it out. Yes. So tell us how that came about with you being with that organization. I know you're in Kansas City and they're in St. Louis.
Yeah, they actually serve the Kansas, Missouri area. I want to say Illinois too, but I can't exactly remember. But when I moved here, because I moved from Mississippi, which is where I was diagnosed at, moved from Mississippi to Kansas.
I, crooked letter I, crooked letter I, humpback I. I'm sorry, y'all. Whenever she says that, I always go into my spiel. So, okay, continue.
Yeah, so when I moved to Kansas City, I just kind of got involved with the Lupus Foundation here, and with the walk and fundraising and just different events and things that they have here. And so, yeah, that's how I got involved. Just, just reaching out and, just trying to do things to, help people in the community be aware of what lupus is and, that kind of thing.
She's an ambassador for the Lupus Foundation of America Heartland chapter. So she's really putting in work, and I'm so grateful that you guys get to be recognized as you often do. I noticed that you were doing something with a camp recently. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the National Kidney Foundation, I do some volunteer work for them from time to time, and they have this camp called Camp Chimer, and
Okay.
it's a camp for kids with transplants, kidney transplants, or who are on dialysis. And Camp Chimer is like my baby, my heart, because I wish there was something that I had growing up, being able to go to camp and being around kids, that were going through similar things. So I was able to go a couple of weeks ago to volunteer some time there. And I mean, it's just like the most amazing experience ever. So I love Camp Chimer.
Where is that located?
It is in Kansas City, Missouri. And
Oh,
it's normally like a 5-day camp. It's overnight, but because of COVID, it's just like 2-day camps. So the kids, they go home and then they come back the next day. But either way, they have a good time.
okay, okay, sounds good. Does anybody have any questions for Curtisha so far? I see we have a few things in the chat. Nicole says, hello, ladies. Well, hello, Nicole. LaRonda says, hello. Hello, LaRonda. Nicole is a part of our advocacy and awareness department, and she uh, is a huge asset to the advocacy and awareness department. I must
I have
say,
a question.
yes, Carrie.
Curtisha, when you were going through your process for getting your kidney transplant, were you aware of the person before you got the transplant of who you were getting the kidney from, or did they tell you after you got your kidney?
So when I
Or-
had my transplant, the only thing they tell you is like general information. They can't tell you like who it is or what happened. So they told me my donor was young and he died tragically. That's all they told me.
Oh,
So I had written my donor's family several times, and they had written me. And how we met was via social media. There was a young lady who had passed away locally, and her family donated her organs. And so my donor's aunt and this other family were communicating on Facebook. And my donor's aunt shared a picture of me via Facebook, and one of my coworkers saw it. And she was like, "Hey,
Oh,
that girl, I work with her." And so, because we're all here locally, we were able to kind of connect and, connect the dots and stuff like that. So actually, my donor, he passed away in the car accident 10 blocks away from my house. So
oh my. What were you, my next part of my question is a two-part question. Were you, when you met your donor, the donor's family, because you didn't meet the donor, but when you met the donor's family, was it like an emotional reunion? Because you did receive that such a lovely gift.
yes, it was, oh my goodness. When I say bittersweet, it was so bittersweet.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah, we agreed to have lunch together. So
Hmm.
my donor's mom and his aunt came, and it was me and my husband. We met at Applebee's and was able to share and stuff. So it helped both of us. I think it's a healing process for the family, and then also for me, it gives me some kind of peace in knowing, the kind of person that he is or was. It's just kind of, it
Yeah.
it helps to know about the person who gave you some extended life. But I always told my husband after I had my transplant, before I even knew anything about CJ, I said, my donor is a male. And he said, how do you
Oh,
know that?
you guessed.
I could just feel,
Whoa.
yeah, it's like this amazing connection that you feel that you can't even explain. It's like I just knew that it was a male. I knew it. Yeah.
That's God speaking to you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for answering my question.
No problem.
That was a really good question, Carrie. Yeah, really good
Thank
question.
you.
Hmm. Tamika says one of our founders is on here, and she says a lot of people receive organs and just move on. To know that you are forever cherishing his memory is exceptional. Blessings upon blessings. So thank
Thank.
you. Hmm.
Wow.
Yes, that's huge. That's huge. I don't know if it has come over you that you feel that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you're really doing a great job with everything that has occurred.
Thank you.
Shalita has a question. You there, sis?
Yes. So I just wanted to ask, when you found out it was end stage kidney failure, was it specifically kidney failure or was it lupus nephritis?
Lupus nephritis.
Okay. And did they give you like a rundown of how long you had it, or was there medication you needed prior to getting the transplant?
So what they did was they gave me Cytoxin treatments, which
Mhm.
they say is really good for pediatric patients with lupus nephritis. And so it's something about that Cytoxin that just kind of gave my kidneys a little bit of to give me that 22 years free of dialysis. So yeah, that's what they gave me was the Cytoxin.
So now that you have your transplant, do you have to take anything daily, or you're just good to go
No, I take a
now?
lot of medications. I take a lot of well, I take two anti-rejection meds, and then I take prednisone, some meds. Although I don't have issues with my blood pressure, they just don't want me to have any. So I take a low dose of blood pressure medicines as well. So I'm on a lot of meds.
Sure. So my last question to you, because I'm picking your brain, is just, so do you think that when they're pre-treating you for lupus nephritis, it's helpful in a sense of everything? Because as we take all this medicine, we get so frustrated. Why do we have to take all of this? Do you
Hmm.
feel, being that you went through all of this, that the medication, when they're telling you we're trying to preserve where you are, is very helpful?
I think so, to a point. However, I will say once I received my kidney transplant, I started going to a new rheumatologist, And he took me off a lot of medications that I was currently taking because he said, this medicine is causing you to have this side effect, which, you're having to take medication for that. So I think in a way it is, but then in a way, sometimes I feel like some of those medications do us more harm than good. So this rheumatologist, he found the right prescription, prescriptions for me that will work. But yeah, I think sometimes taking the stuff to preserve your kidneys can kind of do some damage too on the opposite side of it, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
You
Thank you.
def you definitely want to try and preserve those kidneys. You had said something earlier that was interesting that I didn't know myself. You said that you were on dialysis and then you was able to get off of dialysis.
Yes, I was on dialysis for 3 years after my lupus diagnosis. And then I can remember I was at school one day and the nurse called me to the office and she said, "Your dialysis center called you and you need to call them right now." So I called them because I wasn't on a transplant or anything at that time, transplant list. Um, and so she said, "Curtisha, your kidneys are working good enough that you don't need to do dialysis. So don't do your dialysis treatments tonight and you can just kind of stop doing it." I was like, okay. Yeah, so once I stopped doing it the first time, my kidney function remained stable for 22 years. And then my doctor said, "Okay, your kidney levels are starting to look funny again. You may have to go on dialysis for a second time." But I kind of wanted to be proactive. So I said, "Okay, let me go ahead and have the surgery where they put the catheter in." And then I just started dialysis again that second time because I didn't want to go into that crash where your kidneys just fail and then you have to have emergency dialysis and all of that. So I just started anyway.
I
And
had
it,
never heard that. I know they make it so sound so well, you're at fourth stage and you better start preparing. This is fifth stage is right around the corner. Any little thing, we're gonna definitely keep you on this blood pressure medication because controlling that blood pressure will definitely, ease with the kidney function. But I had never heard of that. And I'm
yeah,
glad you said
yeah.
that. I've never heard that.
Yeah,
I
a lot of doctors say, well, I know it's a miracle from God. They don't see that happen a whole lot, so I just know that it was a God thing and I just take it for what it is. When I went on dialysis for the second time, I was crushed. I
Mhm.
cried. And then I put on my big girl panties and said, "Okay, we got to do it again." So, I have a good support system, my husband, I have friends and family. Just we did what we had to do. I did my treatments at home overnight. I was able to work a full-time job, be a mom, a wife. At the time, my son was in band, so we traveled a lot with the band. I would just take my machine with me. I just could not and would not let lupus and dialysis stop me from living, and that's how I feel now. Just kind of roll with the punches. Some days are good, some days are not, but on those good days, I just live life to the fullest. You know?
And that's such an inspiration because not only do some of us have our moments where we feel like lupus is a death sentence, we also feel like, oh man, if I had to do dialysis, then that's really gonna, just be more dramatic with it. But being the person that you are and the other lupus warriors who are on dialysis and still showing us that life can still be lived and it could be your best life that you live. It doesn't stop you from living and pursuing all your hopes and dreams. So
Right,
you're such a
right.
great example of showing people that although you have your kidney now, I could tell that even back then you still, you still had that perseverance spirit. So that's
I would just say for me, lupus was like my spa time. I knew that, I couldn't leave the house. Nobody could ask me to do anything, just doing me in my space. So I just kind of took advantage of that and just did me. It for me, honestly, doing the dialysis, especially at home, it wasn't bad. I didn't feel sick a lot. After I was done with my treatments, I would get right up and go to work.
oh
So
wow.
it wasn't that bad. My experience with dialysis was not bad.
That's good to hear. You hear so many people saying when they have to go to the treatment centers and everything, and they're like, that day, they're wiped out the rest of the day, and then they'll get the energy again, but then they have to go turn right back around and do it. So they do
Yeah,
say that when you do the at-home dialysis, it's a lot better than
yeah.
having to go back and forth. So you did your treatment overnight?
Yes, I had an 8-hour treatment that I would do at night and would most of all just kind of sleep through it most of the treatment. So yeah, it wasn't that bad. My husband and I, we had to go through training because everything has to be sterile. You
Right.
know, yeah, it wasn't that bad. We learned, what we needed to do, and we did it.
I know you have a good support system. You always see your husband at different events with you and stuff and supporting and everything. So I know that's a blessing to
Have as well. We got to have that family support. Got to have that family support. Any other questions? Let's see what we got in the chat over here. Let's see. Nicole wanted to ask if you were close to CJ's family. You answered that. She's really, really close to them, and that's good. Let's see. Okay, okay. I wanted to ask you about the kidney organization that you're involved with.
Mhm.
Um, so when you were thinking that you were going to need a transplant, did you go through like seeing if your family was compatible and all of that?
Yes, I did reach out. My sister is compatible, but you have to stop smoking for a couple of weeks before you can be tested. And my sister loves her cigarettes. Bless her heart, I love her
Okay.
dearly. She couldn't stop for the couple
Okay.
of weeks to be tested, so that counted her out. And then I had a friend. She was tested, but they told her no, she couldn't donate because she had issues with her blood pressure. And I
Mhm.
had a cousin in Mississippi who was tested, and he was not a match. And so I asked him to please name my kidney once I had a transplant. And so he said my kidney, he wanted it to be named Warrior. And so that's what I call my transplanted kidney. I call him Warrior. So,
Okay, okay,
uh,
okay.
yeah.
I know people always say, well, um, oh, it's gonna be easy if they tell me I need a have to do get a transplant, if I have to do dialysis. Oh, I know I'll have a transplant. I got so many people in my family and everything, but it's really difficult because they, any little thing, if they're diabetic, they can't be compatible for you, or if they have high blood pressure or anything, is every little single thing eliminates them from that list. So then that list becomes smaller and smaller, and then you like, okay, wait a minute, maybe I do
Yeah.
need to look outside. I know we have another Soror Shakira, and she is actually in search of a kidney as well as our brother, board of director Emmett. He's in search of a kidney as well. Is there anything that you would like to tell us as far as for someone who is in, say, stage 3 or stage 4? Is there any information you would like to give us to be more proactive in saving what we have at that time?
I would say see a dietitian. I think that was my best friend when I was on dialysis. And it's kind of funny because I can do the renal diet with no problem. But
Okay.
outside of, having a transplant now, I'm finding that eating healthy foods is a problem for me because the medications make me want to eat everything. So I would say talk to your dietitian because when your numbers are right, it's going to really help you with your treatment and help you with feeling better. So I would say see a dietitian. And I would also say if you're on dialysis and you have not talked to your social worker or nephrologist about having a transplant, and you're interested in it, you should do that, because a lot of times they won't come to you and say, oh, hey, Curtisha, are you interested in a transplant? Because we know that dialysis is a moneymaker. And
Mhm.
so the more people we have sitting in that chair, the more money we're going to make. Hey, I want a transplant. Sometimes they won't come to you and offer that. And it's kind of odd, because when I did dialysis the second time, transplant was nowhere really in my mind. I was just so focused on, I got to do dialysis. I got to do dialysis. And my husband, his ex-wife, she works in the transplant community, and she reached out to me and she said, well, Curtisha, have you thought about a transplant? And I was like, not really. And so, it was really nice of her to reach out to me and say, okay, these are the transplant centers. If you're interested, this is what you need to do, XYZ. And so somebody reached out to me and, gave me that advice. So I always tell people, if nobody has reached out to you, say something if that's what you want. Because we all know that transplant is not what everybody wants to do. Some people don't want that. But if you're not going to have a transplant, I would say, make sure you're taking your meds on time, eating what you're supposed to eat. And I feel like that really helps you a lot.
Thank you for saying something about the renal diet as well. Myself, I am fourth stage chronic kidney disease, lupus nephritis. And he'll always say, oh, well, your protein levels is, out of this world. And then, check back in 4 months, and then everything is kind of back to normal, stable, if you will. And he'll always say, make sure you watch this, you make sure you watch that. But he's never really said, okay, I'm gonna make sure that you see a dietitian. I'm gonna make sure you see a dietitian.
I had to ask for a dietitian. I would recommend anybody to ask for a referral for a dietitian, because your insurance should pay for it. And they will tell you, based on your blood work and your weight and all of that, this is what you need to eat. And that helped me so much. And I think that's why I felt so good being on dialysis, because I was able to follow the renal diet the way they wanted me to. So that helps. I would say see a dietitian.
Being your own advocate. You got to be your own advocate in those doctor's office. You have to be your own advocate, because it is your body, and nobody's going to fight for your body like you will.
That's true.
Let's see. We got a new message here. Let's see. Nicole says she loves your spirit. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole.
She's amazing. Yes. She not only is this superhero in the lupus community, kidney community, but she doesn't sit down. She is a photographer. All her photos, you see her. I mean, not just like playing around with it. She actually has her own photography business. So if anybody wants, well, we was hoping she came to Founders Day weekend, because I was gonna have this whole setup for her. But yeah, she's a photographer. So check out her webpage for that. I mean, like a real photographer. She will have you sitting in the backgrounds and posing and everything. We need to remember that she is a real photographer. And she also creates shirts, and I know some of the things you all have seen in our band. She makes the umbrellas and t-shirts, and she's very crafty. Yes. So if anybody has a t-shirt or design that they want, she is one of the ladies who is an authorized vendor for Gamma Pyro. I see Southern Belle is on here as well, and she designs t-shirts as well. She made the one for our Striking Out Kidney fundraiser that we have. So she blessed us with that. But yeah, Curtisha is a beast. I don't know if I'm expressing it the way it's like I just want to just burst, because you guys have to look at her webpage. She does not sit down. She is the true example of I am not going to let lupus take a hold of my life and tell me what I can't do. She works all the time. She on that bus making sure them kids getting to school. She's just a bundle. Hi, Joe. She's just a bundle of joy, and her spirit is always good. You know, some people could be, Debbie Downer. Oh, this is going on, that is going on, but her spirits is always high, and she's always willing to help. And you see, she's out there advocating and doing what God has her doing. So we thank you for that. Tamika has her hand raised. Meek, Meek.
I just had a question. Are you in contact or aware of the other individuals that received organs from CJ?
CJ's mom told me that she wrote letters to the other recipients, but has not heard back from them.
Oh, okay. And with the kidney organization that you work for, how many individuals have you personally met, either with lupus, that have had kidney transplants or transplants in general? Like, how many would you think you've come across, and how is their mentality and their spirit in moving forward with this?
Yeah, I've met a lot of people within the National Kidney Foundation who have had transplants. I wouldn't necessarily say a lot of them have lupus, but a lot of them have had transplants, and some of them have not. They're still on dialysis and waiting. I would say, some are very optimistic and some are not. Just kind of varies. Everybody doesn't have that support system. Everybody is not their best advocate, so they're not getting the best treatment that they could possibly be getting. Some people don't eat like they should. They're diabetics, and they have to have limbs taken off and stuff like that. So I would say, it kind of varies from person to person. And I've seen a lot of ups in spirit and a lot of down spirit people as well.
Thank you, Soror.
You're welcome.
I'm sure that's a day-to-day fight sometime with any disease. Like, we could be rolling high one day and you talk to us tomorrow and I'm laying in bed because it's
Yeah.
one of those days. So that's understandable.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us that we don't know, or any information you want to give to us?
I would just like to say that I am just so happy to be a glamorous gamma. My husband has tried to get me to join a lot of things. He's a Mason and has tried to get me to join the Eastern Stars and all of that. But I finally found something that is my perfect fit. And I am just so happy to be a part of the Glamorous Gammas. I just love you ladies. And I just appreciate you all so much. I do.
Thank you. And we appreciate you as well. And on that note, I would like to end the actual conversation, speaking of glamorous gammas, in the saying of our amazing president, Autumn Austin: one time for the one time. Guys.
Yasu. Yasu.
Better late than never. Than never. Yes, but yes, we appreciate you as well. And thank you for all that you've given the sorority. And we look forward to all the great things that is happening and will continue to happen. And we're just grateful for you. So where can we find you on social media?
I'm not really on Instagram a whole lot. Facebook is my main platform. Curtisha Ray Anderson. If you want to check out my my photography page, that's Curtisha's Creations. I also have a scholarship foundation called the Curtisha Anderson Scholarship Foundation, and that's a Facebook page as well. So yeah. And then band, you can reach out on band.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, well, we thank you for gracing our platform today with your presence and inspiring words. We'd like to get another photo for the people who has joined us now, if you guys don't mind. On the count of 3, we will get another photo. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay. We really appreciate you all taking the time to join us today. For those of you who do not know, we are the glamorous women of Gamma Pi Rho Lupus Sorority Incorporated. And we are a group of like-minded women who have come together to be advocates and raise awareness for this horrible, horrific, but as you can see, livable disease. We want to ensure that the world gets to know lupus, to say no to lupus. You can find us on all social media platforms under Gamma Pi Rho Lupus Sorority Incorporated, and you can see all the exciting and fascinating things that we are doing. You can also subscribe to our previous interviews on our YouTube page. There is a new fall class that's coming, and they are accepting applications up until the 16th of September. So if you know anyone who is interested in becoming a glamorous woman of Gamma Pi Rho, then get in touch with some of our chancellors, education department, and also take a look at our page on Facebook for the I can't think of the name of it, our social page on Facebook, and you'll get a lot of information about the upcoming classes. If you know anyone who has lost someone to lupus, or any young ladies the age of 15 to 17 who would like to be a part of our Seal and Dimes Auxiliary, have them reach out. You can always get in contact with Founder Dion and Soror Paula for any information on the dimes and seals. We're also going to be starting a Silver Warriors Auxiliary, and that's for people over the age of 60. For membership or any more information, like I say, you can find us on your social media platforms, or reach out to one of the Sorors, because we always have an abundance of information to share with you. And even if it's just to talk about lupus and some symptoms, or just how to get through life, as you can see through Curtisha, we always got some joyous stories, and we also have some inspirational words that can get you through the day. In closing, we are here for one common goal, and it is to unmask the faces of lupus. Until our next speaker, have a lovely weekend. Thank you, Curtisha Ray Anderson, Soror RHOd Runner, and you guys have an amazing holiday, and thank you for sharing your Saturday with us. Have a great
Thank you.
Bye.
Love you, sisters. Bye.
Love you all. Bye. Thanks for logging on today. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for supporting. Bye. Bye. And that was a great show.